I'm Oral Hershiser, and I am on the Blue Review. Hey, this is Sean Green. You're watching the Blue Review.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. On a Wednesday morning, I'm Marcas Grant with Greg Bergman. Greg, so much for Team USA. Huh?
So much for Team USA. Man, they just looked like absolute dog. You know what? It was bad. But honestly, we can get more into it if you want to tell us about LAX first. But they looked.
Yeah, let's do the important stuff first, and that is let you know the Blue Review is powered by LAX. We're taking off. Learn more about all the incredible changes happening now at LAX by going to lawa.org/ESPN. So, as you probably already know by now, the United States did not win the World Baseball Classic. They lost in the final to Venezuela by a score of 3-2, a game in which the offense just didn't show up. But I guess that's sort of par for the tournament, Greg. I mean, this lineup that was packed with all-stars and some guys who are future Hall of Famers, the offense was incredibly underwhelming for the entirety of this tournament.
The entire tournament, yeah, you're right, was really not a good offense. The entire time they couldn't get hits with runners in scoring position. They lived and died by the home run. Kind of sound like the Dodgers at times, but yeah, they just couldn't really do much of anything. And guys like Bryce Harper, I know he hit the 2-run home run. He was basically non-existent. Cal Raleigh was taken out, and for Will Smith because he was non-existent. Aaron Judge, your favorite guy, I think we figured out that he is now he's now the worst amazing player in baseball. Is that like a fair way to put
Yeah, because you texted that last night. I was really thinking about it, and like Aaron Judge he's like a box of donuts in that it looks great, and in the right situation, it absolutely hits, but it's just a bunch of empty calories in the end.
That's so great. The box of donuts. I absolutely love that. That's amazing. But that's kind of what's going on right now. In big moments, Aaron Judge tends to just fall apart. And you see it on there. Aaron Judge is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And I think 2 of those were looking. Mm-hmm. So he just was watching it go, had no clue what was happening. I mean, is the 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts as bad as Will Smith swinging at a pitch that hit him?
I mean, I'm going to, just because I want to stick up for our guy, I'm going to say Aaron Judge is his worst.
Yeah.
That's it. But
there was a pitch. It was like the 8th inning, I think it was. And or maybe it was even the 9th. It was Bizardo was in, and no, it was probably it
was the 8th. Because Palencia pitched the 9th. Yeah,
exactly. It was either the 7th or 8th. I think it was the 8th. And it just, a pitch, he swung at a pitch that was so far inside, it hit him on the way around. It was just, the USA offense was just non-existent throughout the whole thing. But I got to give it up to Venezuela.
Yeah.
Venezuela played their ass off. They looked really good. They just felt like they wanted it more. The excitement that was on Eugenio Suarez's face and when he was talking to Ken Rosenthal after the game was amazing. I just love the fact that it just goes to show you how much more important it was to every other country than it was the United States.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And to watch, I mean, obviously we talked yesterday about the lineup that they had, the hitters, that they had a very dangerous group of hitters, right? I mean, you've got like Luis Arias at the top of the lineup and you go, or Ronald Acuna and Jackson Churio, and you mentioned Eugenio Suarez. I mean, they had a stack of major leaguers, of quality major leaguers up and down that lineup. Maybe the biggest surprise, though, is that they get, 5 amazing innings out of Eduardo Rodriguez, of all people. Like, that's the thing that I think blew us away, is that Eduardo Rodriguez, of all people, is the one who comes out and just absolutely shoves for 5 innings, holds the U.S. down, gives Venezuela the opportunity to take the lead, to scratch out a couple of runs, and just is really the guy that kept them in that game. That's the part that blows me away.
I mean, they couldn't touch him. They had no clue what was coming. Every pitch that Eduardo Rodriguez threw, they didn't know what it was. They were swinging at pitches outside the zone and letting pitches inside the zone go. They were completely lost. And now maybe you could say it has something to do with it still being in spring training and being early on. But the fact of the matter was they were just held in check the entire game. You got one good swing from Bryce Harper. That might have been Bryce Harper's only good swing, even though he had 2 hits. But it's like that. It felt like a destruction of the U.S. team more so than it was a great game. It just didn't feel like the U.S. was ever really in that game, even when it was tied.
No, it took that big swing from Bryce Harper to tie the game, but it felt like I don't know that they can score another one. Like it would take another big swing like that. They weren't going to manufacture a run. It just wasn't going to happen. They couldn't get leadoff guys on. They couldn't get guys over. They definitely couldn't get the big hit when they had with guys in scoring position. So, that was it was the problem all series long. They figured it out, most of the time during the tournament, but they could not figure it out last night. But there was one Dodger who did get to celebrate. That was Miguel Rojas. It's been a big couple days for Miguel Rojas.
I want to be clear. Miguel Rojas is not suspended 80 games. That was Johan Rojas. And the guy on the Venezuelan team, Josh Rojas, is not the same guy as Miguel Rojas.
Or Johan, right? It's like every person named Rojas is like standing up being like, hey, it wasn't me. I'm clean.
There are other Rojases in the world.
So, but you can see there the video of Miguel Rojas with his kids celebrating Venezuela's win. So I'm sure when he gets to camp, when he gets to the clubhouse today, I would not be surprised if he's sporting a big Venezuelan flag, some Venezuelan colors, because why the hell not? So.
So like, how were you feeling during watching that game? Because I was sitting there, and if they won, I would have been like, yeah, hey, great job, USA. That's fantastic. I wouldn't have been like Miguel Rojas here. I wouldn't have been jumping around and all excited like it was the World Series. I don't want to take anything away from WBC. I think just how we feel about the WBC in the US is just not the same. I wouldn't have had that feeling. When Venezuela won, I was like, that's great. Congratulations, Venezuela. Good for you. And that was like the extent of my feelings.
Probably. Here's the thing. I wasn't really broken up about the US losing last night.
No, absolutely not.
But I also wonder, would we have taken our cues from the team? Like if the team was like super into it, would we have been more into it? But because, the US team was kind of like, we were all sort of like, and I guess had I don't know if emotionally I was really with one team or another. Like the Dominican team was fun. Watching Venezuela play was fun. I don't think I was emotionally wrapped up. Like if I had been, then maybe I probably would have, right? I sort of feel like it's like if you weren't a Dodger or a Blue Jay fan and you were watching the World Series. Like generally either way it went, you're probably like, all right, and then you turned on Netflix after it was over. That's kind of what this felt like last night.
Yeah, no, it totally did feel this way, and I don't know. I thought the tournament was amazing. I really enjoyed watching every single game. I watched games that were not with the United States. I thought the tournament was really, really well done. I thought Fox did a great job. Sometimes their camera angles were all over the place, but that's neither here.
Which, by the way, is wild considering they were broadcasting from ballparks that they're, in all the time.
Why was this so difficult? Why was this so difficult?
They were in Houston. They were in Miami. Like these are places they go all the time. Yeah.
And you just got done doing the World Series, which they still had. I don't know. It was very odd that they had bad camera angles, but the presentation that they put out was really good. The tournament was amazing. I just never got that feeling, and I think you're right. It's because of the way the U.S. team felt about it, and I think they were just so tight that they felt like we have to win this thing, that, it just didn't come out in the same ways as Venezuela and Dominican Republic and Japan and Korea, Italy. And, Czechia.
Right.
All of those guys, all of those teams were super excited the entire time.
Yeah, no doubt. Although I feel like Vinny Pasquantino should get like an espresso sponsorship.
Hey, Vinny Pasquantino,
Go
get me an espresso.
Like I was, by the way, side note to all this, I was texting with a buddy of mine who's a Royals fan, and I was like, the Royals actually showed up big in this tournament between Vinny P, Jack Caglione, Michael Garcia ends up winning tournament MVP. Salvador Perez has a good tournament as well. Like the Kansas City Royals. If this is to be a judge of anything, then maybe the Royals are going to make some noise in the AL Central.
So out of all of that, you didn't mention the best player on the Royals that was also on the U.S. team, Bobby Wood Jr. Because he didn't show up. Because he showed up defensively. Defensively, he was amazing. Because my God, goodness, he's good defensively. But you didn't mention him. Out of all those Royals, you didn't mention the one on the U.S. team and probably the third best player in all of baseball.
Yeah,
isn't that kind of telling?
Yeah, no, that's right. Because he was. You couldn't get anything past him at shortstop, but he also didn't hit, kind of like everybody else on the team. So who knows? All right. Enough of the red, white, and blue review. Now time to get on to the just straight up blue review. Roki Sasaki, am I right?
That's Shohei. Different guys, Carlo.
All right. No, but here's I didn't give Carlo a heads up of where I was going to go. So that's not his fault. All right. That's not his fault at all. All right. So let's start with Shohei since he's on screen here. He is back. We saw a video of him starting to throw again. He's expected to make a spring training start. And it sounds like, Greg, he is on track to make his first regular season start in the second series of the year, I believe, against the Cleveland Guardians, if I'm correct.
Yes, the second season of the year against the Cleveland Guardians. They're also going to start him off very, very slow. It's going to be kind of like it was last year when they were ramping him up, but not to the same extent. So last year, they did an inning.
One inning and then two innings. Yeah.
Now they're going to go 3-4, 3-4, and then it'll eventually get to build up through that. Now, I think that it's always best to stay safe with Shohei, but at some point, I think they're just going to take the gloves off and say, "Go ahead, you do what you want." But if he wants to win Cy Young, which he's talking about, I know we're going to keep bringing it up, but if he wants to win Cy Young, he has to pitch more than 4 innings. So I love the fact that they're doing it this way because his arm's more important than a piece of hardware. Mm-hmm. Not like you, Rob Ranford. That's a real piece of hardware. But yes, so I love what he's doing there. I can't wait to actually see him on the mound again.
Yeah, and obviously the difference being this year he's got a longer runway to get ready, and he's able to do it outside of actual games. I mean, I know he didn't pitch in the World Baseball Classic, but he was throwing kind of on the side, and now he's starting to really ramp up still with about a week and a half left of spring training. So we're going to see him make at least one spring training start. So there's a little bit longer runway here this year than there was last year where, remember when they announced that he was going to start pitching, was it like June? And it just kind of was it just sort of popped up out of nowhere. It's like, oh, we don't know. We're not sure what his timeline is. Hey, Shohei's starting tomorrow. That's kind of what it felt like. So now we at least have some sort of idea of what the plan is going to be with Shohei Ohtani.
Which is exciting. Anytime Shohei is on the mound or at the plate or really just walking.
Just existing.
Existing.
So,
we have to really pay attention to it.
For sure. All right. Now I guess we can get to Roki. Because aside from the WBC talk going on in our group chat, there was Roki Sasaki talk going on in our group chat because things were great last night, Greg, until suddenly they weren't. And that seems to be the story of Roki Sasaki, that it seems to be going right, and then it just all kind of goes wrong quickly.
Right. So the way that it looked, because I was kind of flipping back and forth, so I didn't see all of it, but I was watching a good amount of Roki, was that even when he was getting strikeouts, because he started off, I think he went 3 innings and he was clean, or 2 innings, or so, it was a couple of innings and he went clean. And he had a couple of strikeouts. And you're like, okay, look, this is Roki Sasaki. He's getting a lot of strikeouts. He's relying so heavily on his splitter, and he's throwing also that gyro slider, cutter, whatever they want to call it, a lot to try and get it worked out. But he's not finding the plate. I mean, it's a lot of his is chase. He's getting the strikeouts off of the chase, and that's good. But when you stop chasing like the Royals did, then you start getting on base. And I think at one point he walked 3 straight guys, and then they said, okay, that's it. You're coming out of this game. Put him back in, and then he started giving up hits again. So he's not completely found really much of anything. His fastball is still not placing the way that he wants it to. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's just working through some things, but so far this spring has not been up to the level that the Dodgers are going to want him up to the level of, especially if he's going to be a starter, because that could lead to the things that we talked about last year. It's like, oh, every starter is only going 2-3 innings, and then you're getting deeper into your bullpen, and then the bullpen is getting tired. Those kind of conversations are going to keep coming up when Roki is this way.
I think the thing that concerns me most, though, is not spotting the fastball, because that's sort of job number one, right? I mean, he comes in with two pitches. It's the fastball and the splitter, and obviously with the splitter, the idea is to be able to get guys to chase, but first you do have to be able to prove that you can throw it for a strike. Guys aren't going to chase a pitch that you can't throw for a strike. I get that he's working on a third pitch, and if he's struggling with command of the third pitch, I sort of understand it. But if he can't get the fastball down, if he can't throw the splitter for strikes, that is a problem. And look, it's still mid-March. It's March 18th. There's no real reason to panic about it, but it is something to sort of keep an eye on, because, at least in the early part of the season, he's going to have to be in Los Angeles. I mean, unless they want to try and swap him out for River Ryan, but I don't think that's what they want to do. He's going to have to be in LA. He's going to have to take the ball every fifth day for the time being. And so he's going to have to be, at least decent, respectable out there, right? Because to your point, we know that Shohei's only going to pitch, 3 or 4 innings at a time. You're obviously expecting you're going to get length out of Yamamoto. You're going to get length, hopefully, out of Glass now. You hopefully get some length out of Sheehan. So I think I would prefer to just have one spot in the rotation where I know we've got to sort of cobble together a bunch of bullpen innings. So I not panicked, not freaked out yet, but would like to see, hopefully he gets at least one more start in spring training. I'd like to see him sort of work some things out with that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It absolutely is. And you made a good point about the fastball, because right now it's up. He's missing up high. If you want your splitter to be a get out pitch, you need that pitch to be low. So that fastball also, you have to show that you can throw the fastball low. So when you throw the splitter, it drops out underneath, and that's when they swing right through it, because they don't know which pitch is going to be. Yamamoto is amazing at placing that fastball low and then offsetting it with the splitter. So if he's missing high, guys are going to just destroy the baseballs up high if he's missing with the fastball up there. So those types of things, I think you're totally right too, that he needs to show that he can be a little bit better, because also Gavin Stone, who's another guy that they could have brought up, is not going to pitch up here for at least 2 months, or maybe even be able to pitch fully for at least 2 months. So then you're going to have to start relying on guys like Landon Knack or Justin Wroblewski. And now I like Wroblewski, but I think they want him in the bullpen.
Yeah.
So there's just little things that need to be kind of figured out there. And Roki he needs to get right, but they're going to give him a runway. I think we've seen it enough that the Dodgers will give guys long runways. But if Roki doesn't kind of figure it out, he'll be back down in AAA figuring out what actually is wrong and working on specific pitches.
Yeah, and I also thought it was interesting too, because was it Anthony Witrado that mentioned to us last week that part of the reason they want to keep him in Los Angeles is just to be able to keep an eye on him, really. I say that as though
Jeff on Monday, but yeah.
Yeah, it was Jeff. Okay, sorry. So yeah, I said that as though he were a naughty child. That's not exactly what I meant. But basically, it's just kind of like
here,
right? Exactly. Stay on the couch, don't move. But just more to be able to kind of work closely with him, to sort of be able to tinker with mechanics that obviously it's a little bit more difficult when he's in Oklahoma City to kind of get that hands-on instruction with him. So, you can have Mark Pryor, you can have some more of the coaches kind of sit and watch him closely and tinker with whatever needs to be tinkered with. I don't know if Pitching Ninja has done another side-by-side. I don't know, has anything changed? I know obviously watching with the naked eye with mechanics is sort of a hard thing to do, but we had that early spring side-by-side from Pitching Ninja that showed some of the differences in setup and mechanics and that sort of thing. And I wonder if he's still if he's back to October Roki, or if we're still getting, early spring Roki right now.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring up Rob Freeman and Pitching Ninja. I was just looking at his Twitter this morning because I was thinking to myself, we should try and get him on
Sure.
to talk about Roki and to talk about the different pitch mixes and things that he's talks about at such a high level, but his DMs aren't open. If you have some way of getting in touch with him, if you know somebody that has some kind of in with him, that'd be awesome. I'd love to try and get him on here to talk to us specifically about Roki, but obviously the other guys as well. And
for sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's kind of incredible what he does at that level. And to the point that, actual pitchers sort of converse with him and they sort of, I won't say trade secrets, but really get into the science and the mechanics of pitching, because it's amazing how it's sort of like a golf swing. And I say this as someone who's a terrible golfer. Just the little things that it takes for everything to go right, and when one of those little things is off, how everything sort of goes wrong.
If you don't move your hips in a certain way, you're going to hit the ball left or right. I'm going through it right now, and that is one of the more frustrating things about this game. You can't perfect it. It's not possible. So think about it for a pitcher. You can't perfect it ever, but you can be really damn good at it.
They call it golf because all the other 4-letter words were taken. Anyway, anything else? I know Shohei is expected to pitch today. What we expect? 3 innings, something like that out of him, maybe?
Yeah, about 3 innings, 4 innings is what they're trying to get him into. So it depends on what he can do. But otherwise, no, I think everything is – Dalton Rushing continues to rake all season, all spring. He had another home run yesterday. Really excited for what Dalton Rushing can do. And if he can be somebody that allows Will Smith to take a little bit longer rests where he gets 2-3 days off during the week, probably 2, that's great. And maybe not great for Dalton, but – just been impressed with Dalton this spring.
Yeah, it's good to see, because that was one of the things is that everybody said he needs to hit. It was also sort of unfair to be like, hey man, you're going to get 3 at bats a week, and you got to hit. So getting more opportunities is good. So hopefully that translates into something good once the season starts. So there we go. I'm back with you, of course, tomorrow, and we can talk some Shohei and see what he does in his Texas League debut on the mound coming up later on today. In the meantime, appreciate everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. Stick around. Lisa Dono and Cap Morning Extravaganza coming up next here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. Shout out to Carlo for getting us up and going, and the extra production work there with the photos and the videos. So appreciate that as always. Thanks to LAX for Greg Bergman. I'm Marcus Grant. It's been the Blue Review presented by LAX. See you tomorrow, 6:30 to 6:55 here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. See you.